I'm going to read out this here review of Spearhead from Space, written by one Nick Mallory. It was published on the 30th of the 9th, 2004. This is on the DWRG. The secret of Doctor Who's enduring success is, of course, its willingness to embrace constant change. The abrupt lurch from Pat Troughton's cosmic wandering clown to John Pertwee's earthbound techno dandy disappointed some, but to many, the unit years are quintessential Who, and only a format as flexible as Who's could possibly have accommodated such a paradigm shift in its stride. Spearhead from Space gains much needed realism from the serendipitous studio strike which forced the entire project out on location, but the lushly filmed style can obscure the skill in which a new Doctor, a new rationale, an excellent new companion, and new organisation and unit are introduced as part of a solid, if somewhat derivative story. Any story which starts with a mysterious shower of meteorites is on to a winner, and this patiently developed tale lacks only a credible finale. One has the impression that the production staff reached the factory only to find the last 6 pages of script missing and improvised what they could on the spot. Doctor Who, blissfully forced to rely on wit and character in the absence of big-budget special effects, needs denouements better than improvised flashing device makes all-powerful aliens fall over in 20 seconds for no readily apparent reason, and the sight of the Nestine intelligence, scary because of its intangibility, reduced to a flailing rubber octopus, is the only real letdown of the whole serial. Oh, no, I kind of like that. I can't not. The excellent Liz Courtney personifies the unit, and the comparative facelessness of his subordinates was soon to be remedied by the indomitable Sergeant Benson and flaky Captain Yates. Lee Shaw is one of the least remembered companions, but her role here is a constant delight. A cool, intelligent woman, played by a truly talented actress, was a perfect foil for the exuberant Doctor, and the flirtatious warmth between the two is palpable. Though the Doctor needs a slightly dim Watson to constantly explain the plot to is undeniable, but the freshness of Shaw's acerbic banter with the Brig and the Doctor has dated rather less than her outfit, and it is a tragedy that the talents of Caroline John were ultimately wasted. An assistant prepared to argue against the Doctor's ideas and schemes on a scientific basis, and perhaps go her own way at times in terms of offering solutions, would have opened a fresher avenue for plot complexity than the endless capture and release cycles endured for so long. The Autons are surprisingly well-remembered baddies, with the fear to be found in everyday things, brilliantly exploited in the famous scenes of the shop dummies coming to life, a theme developed in Terror of the Autons, which did the show no end of good by incurring the wrath of Mary Whitehouse. The Autons' attack on the poacher's wife and off-screen death of the barking dog are genuinely scary, and although the latest Cyberman Light shootout disappoints, why didn't they use flamethrowers against their plastic foes? The value of such simple baddies lies not least in their obviously negligible cost of production. Their very blankness allows the viewer to imagine their terror far more potently than any amount of painted polystyrene. The intellectual void, which is the Nestine intelligence, was ripe for further exploration, a chance smothered by the inclusion of the ludicrously overexposed Master in its return, and its failure to reappear in the Doctor's later incarnations remains puzzling to this day. This is before the newer program introduced the Autons in its first episode, reintroduced. An interesting theme, though, through these years of exile was the demonizing of medium-sized English manufacturing firms, with their bosses constantly portrayed as power-crazed, stalking horses for alien takeover, while in reality they struggled impotently for survival in their sinking corporate state. From Wotan through Channing to the sharp-suited stooges of the Green Death, a stream of businessmen were possessed by computers and hostile forces and sought to wreak devastation on the world. Whatever the soft-left political or personal hatred of the day job, motivations behind such portrayals, the CBI had more to be irritated about than the National Viewers and Listeners Association. The workmanlike mix of War of the Worlds, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and Quatermass starring James Bond as the Mad Professor stands up surprisingly well today. If the Autons remind one of the Cybernauts of Avengers fame, carry the rejuvenated franchise, they carry the rejuvenated franchise from the 60s to the 70s in confident style. The Doctor's flamboyant energy, Shaw's icy intelligence, and the Brig's fundamental decency combine to form an impressive team, and it's a shame that Jo Grant's mini-skirted bejeweled bimbo replaced the genuinely sexy and interestingly Shaw so quickly. The Doctor's recourse to flailing fisticuffs and cobbled-together gizmos are in evidence here, of course, but in the end it is the quick-thinking, quick-figured Shaw who saves the Doctor, not the other way around. As the pilot for the Pertwee years, Spearhead from Space is near perfect, and as a standalone drama remains eminently watchable today. If only the idea of that wretched octopus had been strangled at birth, the Nestines deserved better. How many of the trashy reality DIY soap, celebrity, and property programs which infest our screens today like so many creeping copies of each other will be devoured in as avidly in 35 years' time? The complete dearth in the one space age of 2004 of any homegrown program with even a sliver of Doctor Who's imagination is surely more shocking than even those dummies mowing down a bus queue all those years ago.